was.
It sounded good.
It sounded good. Yeah. You should just
No,
take
that
credit
was
yourself.
from
The
Big
Office?
Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. Anyway,
Figures. Well,
say
they
what
have
up, Tube.
What up, Tube?
What up, Tube? More
Let's
like
get this
8 seconds
party
late.
started.
Let's get it rolling. All right, here we go. Last but certainly not least, for the show. Y'all ready?
Ready.
Here it goes. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of
Business Bros.
Woo! What up, ladies and
Cacophony.
gentlemen?
I love it.
Hernan
It's
Cias
like
here.
the opposite of a symphony.
Right? Cacophony. Hernan Cias here,
Way
host.
off on that.
Hey, man.
It's all good.
We all are acapella singers by heart, right? That's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why we got mad skills. Chorus time.
There it is.
Choir. Here we go. All right, Hernan Cias here, host of the Business Bros podcast, along with my co-host.
The insurance bro, James Cias, and as always, excited, happy. Just so
We've been having fun already.
we already have been having so much fun, and it's gonna keep right on going. Here we go for the show today. We are excited to bring to you an impressively dynamic duo, a proud San Diego Real Producers partner. Today's guest is a true professional in all things construction, highly reviewed and referred all over San Diego. As a top contractor in both the residential and commercial space, just wait for the name drop. This company has stood the test of time, has been killing the game for over a decade. Whether you're building, renovating, or recovering from a fire or flood, today we bring you a full-service residential and commercial general contractor with a specialty division in disaster restoration. So, joining us from Resicom, see, residential and commercial, Resicom, please welcome Eli Humphrey and Daniel Garcia.
Thank you.
Was that an intro or
was
what?
an intro.
Was it worth the
Hire
wait?
This guy full time. That's worth the wait.
It was worth the wait, right?
Round
It
of
took a
applause.
second.
Right,
Took a second.
right?
Yeah.
He does his thing. It takes him a while, but it comes out.
Sometimes.
The juices
Yeah.
flow. All right, guys.
Welcome to the show. Thanks
Thank
for joining
you very
us.
much.
Yeah,
Thanks
let's
for
do
having
this.
us, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to hop into our conversation because we want to know all about what you've been doing for the last 10 years, how this thing came about. But before we do, we want to remind our audience, we're looking for 100 sweaters, hoodies, or blankets. So if you guys got them, please hit us up for the donations. We're halfway there, and we got some donations still coming. Hit James up, 619-884-0045, or james@csfirst.com. He's also the insurance bro. So if you guys need help with any of your insurances, your home, your auto, commercial, business, workers' comp, whatever it is you need, we're here to help. Maybe you want to add insurance into your business. Maybe you have a mortgage office or a tax office. We can help you with that too. Remember, we do all the work, but cut you the check. 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. Today's show sponsor is dronequote.net/business bros. That's where you go to get the solar thing started. Look, the sun is spitting out the money. You just don't have the glove to catch it. Those are called solar panels, ladies and gentlemen. And where you get the solar shopping started is at dronequote.net/business bros. They're going to send out a drone, measure your rooftop, send it to roofing companies, send it to solar companies. You sit back, pick the quote that works for you. Done deal. Now you got the equipment. Now that sun's spitting out money and you're able to catch it. dronequote.net/business bros.
Woo, woo.
Ready?
I love it.
Like I do it every
good
day,
sir.
man.
You would think.
All right, guys. I want to know about your company. Look, we talked a little bit before the show because we did a lot of talking before the show, right? And you're not natives of San Diego.
No.
So where'd you come from, and how do you decide to start a company here and get it off the ground?
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I was born and raised out in South Carolina, and ultimately just through travel and everything kind of fell in love with San Diego. Wanted to
who
be
can't,
here.
right?
Yeah. How do you not fall in love with it? So high school, I was doing a lot of surfing and just coming out here, hanging out with friends and family and just traveling all over. As soon as I landed in Southern California, I knew from that time moving forward, this is where I was going to call home.
Destination home.
And then through a series of a couple of other events, I met my college sweetheart in college, and that was out in Oklahoma, and she happened to be here in San Diego. She was a native as well, and so I was like, hey, this works out well.
Perfect.
And
My in-laws are gonna like me.
Yeah.
I'm taking you home.
Yes. Oddly enough, we were friends, the three of us at that time. We were all connected to a big group of us, and he moved out here actually ahead of me. So Daniel, you can kind of tell your story, but
Yeah, I moved here
chasing
in
the dream.
2003, right after graduating, and came out here. I mean, professionally, our paths are very different. Only recently converging to being the business development guy, but yeah, I mean, I came to 2003. I was a police officer. Yep, I was LAPD and
LA of all places.
Yep,
Yeah.
LAPD, and then I lateraled down to Escondido PD. Long story short, was medically retired due to an injury. Then I went to seminary to work, to pursue ministry in churches. Did a Master's of Divinity for 4 years. Been working in churches the last 2 years.
Wow.
And then came on board with Resicom just 6 months ago.
Wow.
So
like helping churches like grow their, like to grow, right? I'm assuming like.
Kind of like pastoral, doing counseling and doing some of the giving sermons and things like that.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
From the shield to the pew.
and now that's his Instagram handle, Cloth and Shield, because we call him Man of the Cloth.
Right? That's a good one.
Yeah.
Cloth and shield. I like that.
So, the whole Resicom story, I mean, I tried to get out of construction for the longest time. I grew up in and around the trades. It's part of why I went to school.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing
I
this.
don't want to be 40 swinging a hammer, but I always had a love and appreciation for blue collar work. It does make the world go around.
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
don't believe that, but I have a great appreciation still to this day for people that are in blue collar trade work, and but I always had that affinity for like learning and appreciating business as well. And so I was like, man, I really want to try to figure out how to combine the two of these, and I kind of just fell right back into it. My wife's father at the time was running a very large commercial outfit here in town, and so I was like, I just married right back into it. Something I tried to get away from for the longest time.
It's got you, man. You were on a leash. Yeah. You never knew it, but the leash was there.
It was there the whole time. So then the
just
economy
gave you slack. That's what happened.
Yeah,
It just gave you some slack.
Gave you some slack and then
pulled you right back.
Pulled me right back in. The economy kind of took a dump as well at the time, and then I was like kind of floundering, trying to figure out. I knew how to, just support my family. I'm like, well, here I am. I'm in it. Let's keep this thing rolling. So Resicom was born kind of out of a really bad time, to be honest. And then I just
let's dig into that. Let's dig into that because I know. I mean, you're talking 2007, 2008, 2009 era, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I one of my best friends is a general contractor, and like. You got to the point where you have employees, and these guys shrank down. They became like one-man shows again, maybe one or two guys, and it got really slim pickings during that time. Like you decided to venture off and build your own company at that point. That's kind of tough. I mean, once you hit the 2011, 12, like things started to pick up again. People started flipping, buying stuff,
right.
That they were buying when prices were low, and work started to pick up steadily. But a lot of guys just were like, I just need to find a way to feed my family. They went to regular W-2 jobs.
Yep.
You took a different approach. Like, what were you thinking?
I just figured, I guess it was kind of like moving out here. People always say, oh yeah, if you can survive in San Diego, you can survive anywhere. If you can survive in New York, you can survive anywhere. If you can survive in San Francisco. It was kind of the same mentality. I was like, all right, it can only go down from here, right?
True.
So, I mean, my only option is up.
Yeah.
Get this thing going. We're in the worst time that our economy has seen practically ever, and it just wasn't an option. My daughter was just barely born, and I was like, I got a mouth to feed.
Your back's to the wall, man.
Back's to the wall. I just purchased, first home, all this stuff. It was like classic scenario of like the stars have aligned in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of forced me into a position of just stepping out, being brave, one step at a time.
Well, what was the wife saying at the time? Was she like nervous about it? I mean, she grew up in the construction game
funny.
too.
Yeah, we laugh about it all the time. I mean, my wife kind of made this vow to herself that she was never going to marry a business owner or somebody in construction because that's where she came from.
See, her leash didn't tighten. Her leash tightened up too.
It tightened right up too. So she married me, business owner, and fell right back into construction. So she was very supportive. Thankfully, she had kind of already been there, done that with seeing her family go through stuff and seeing her dad's business grow over the years. And it was obviously like a really good thing overall, watching her dad's company grow and support their family. So she knew the inherent risks that came along with it. And so it was actually a lot easier, and to have her support, I wouldn't be who I am today without it. She's been a monumental piece of like who I am and what the company has done over the years. So
it's
really good.
What did it start off like, and like compared to what it is today? I mean, when everybody starts their business, they always start off as cool. I got my DBA. I got some business cards. I'm in business. But where you are 10 years down the road, like what's that been like?
Yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, having Daniel here is even part of that. It's literally, it's gone from my wife being out in a baby Bjorn with our daughter strapped to her chest, handing out business cards, which we look back on some of that material now and laugh. Yeah, it's like Word documents,
I printed it. This thing sucks.
Look,
there's a typo.
Yeah. And I mean, it was like me wearing every single hat, being the estimator, the project manager, the guy actually doing the work out in the field, and then still trying to come home and figure out how I'm going to collect invoicing and send the next email out for the next bid. And so it's me wearing every hat to then, me developing something. And with the help of a lot of people, my partner's not here, but I'm going to give a big shout out to Mike Mallory. He's not huge on social media either, but he's there. He'll listen, I'm sure. But, people like that actually come alongside of you to where then you're taking load off of your shoulders and giving other people responsibility, and not just responsibility, but opportunity. And I think that's been the biggest kind of blessing of all of it, is like, now I get to see other people flourish, not just from my hard work, but from other team members that are invested into the growth of our team. And it just has opened up opportunity for us to bring on guys that are saying, hey, need another shot at kind of doing something different, career change, people that are buying their first home, their first car, first celebration of like, hey, I've got a year locked down at this place of employment. We're doing really cool stuff. Even right now, we're reaching out with, to trade schools and stuff, and getting, the younger up and coming guys to like show interest. And that's cool to be able to develop stuff like that. So it's just taken on a completely different
How comfortable were you when you started to let go of some of these things? Like when you're wearing a lot of hats and you're doing a lot of things, but they're getting done, right? They're actually getting done the way you want them to get done. A lot of people, when it comes to that expansion point where they're like, maybe they hand it off and they're like, give it back. You're not doing it the right way. You know what I mean? Like, how was that?
It's still tough. It's like a daily struggle, because I'm not a complete control freak. I don't like having my thumb on people's back and like being that micromanager. Did you get the XYZ task done? I operate with a lot of like freedom and autonomy. I like to just give people enough space to say, hey, you're a responsible adult, do this, here's my expectation. But with that, there is a very high expectation that I'm giving you enough freedom for you to be responsible with that freedom. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's a fine juggling act of like going, man, I still want to be involved in this, versus I'm gonna let this guy just kind of run with this. You asked earlier, kind of off the radio, we were talking about having to drive around.
Yeah,
we just this morning did a big vendor kind of customer appreciation down at a supply house that we were at this morning, and so that's part of why we were in a different part of San Diego. But that just that alone, that's something I used to do just by myself. I'd go out and set up a tent with our branding and all that on there, and pass out cards and gifts and try to get people involved and collect business cards and do all that networking. And now it's like, Daniel, here's how it's done. Here's what I used to do. Here's this tip. Here's this trick. So it's like, here, take it.
Hand it off. Yeah.
You can see what I used to do, or let me see how you operate it now, and then let's collab on that and just figure out a better way to keep our name growing. So
continued. Yeah.
And hopefully he's doing that with somebody else down the line. Give him another 6 months, he'll have somebody else underneath
replacing
him.
yourself, right?
Yep, exactly.
So Daniel, tell me a little bit about what you see. Like, you've known him for 20 years, right? You obviously knew that he started this thing, and now you're coming on board as, on the biz dev side. Like, where did you see, like, from an outsider's perspective, how did you see this thing progressing?
Yeah, it's funny, as he's kind of telling the story, I still think about this quite often, actually. It's been interesting for me to be very involved in he and Jamie, his family's life for these 20 years. Known him for a long time, obviously. And then I remember the days of him, starting his company, and like him, like we're talking on the phone or we're hanging out, and he's just telling his, all of us guys hanging out, and he's telling his experience of like going door to door, or work doing a handyman job or whatever. I mean, even at my own mother-in-law's house, he had done some projects, so I remember those days, and it's really cool for me to be on this side and see how, again, on those humble beginnings to what he's built today, the amount of work that he's put into. And again, being on the friend side, I know the kind of man that he is, and now getting to know Mike, the character qualities that they have of integrity, and just the men that they are and what they've built. It's really cool for me to be on this side of things and see what they've built, how they've built it, and it's awesome.
What are you looking forward to as far as, like, now that you're on board and you see the entire operation, you see it from an outsider's perspective, you see it from a biz development perspective, like, what do you see in the company where you're like, this is where I'm going to make the biggest impact? What do you think that's going to be? That's kind of a tough, pointed question, I know.
Yeah, that is a good one. I think for me, as I briefly said, in my professional background, being a police officer, working in church ministry, a big thing for me is I genuinely love people. The reason that I became a cop was because I genuinely wanted to help people. The reason that I wanted to do church ministry was, again, I genuinely wanted to help people. And same thing with this, even in business development, the goal is to grow the company and things like that. But the reason that I love what I'm doing right now is because I get to have meaningful interactions with people, and to get to hear people's stories, and even offline from business things. I love being able to have those deeping meaningfuls, and be able to either just be a listening ear, or be able to provide words of comfort or encouragement, or just pulling people up, so I mean, I hope that I can add that as a component. It's already there. Again, knowing Eli and Mike, the whole team at Resicom, these are people that are already acting in that capacity. I hope I can bring my flavor to that, though, and bring empathy and love and all those kind of things.
Camaraderie in that place, right?
Yeah,
make it fun.
Absolutely.
Well, I got to ask you, 10 years, when you first start a business and you start grinding it out and you start making connections, things are kind of going on the up and up. Mm-hmm. Have you experienced anything where you're like, man, I don't know, like maybe I hired too quickly, or, maybe I'm over leveraged on this particular project, and you have like some issues? Like, what kind of hiccups have you seen in the last 10 years that you've run across? Like, oh crap, here's a wall. Yeah. And what'd you learn? How'd you overcome it?
Oh man, I could tell so many stories. I think that's the cool part also, is like, I think, doing exactly what we're doing, taking time to ask the tough questions, and then have somebody that's vulnerable enough to like answer it, and answer it honestly. Those oh crap moments come more frequently than people want to admit. There's so many times in business where you run into challenges, and I said even another thing offline earlier is just like, showing up is half the battle. Mm-hmm. If you show up and just consistently say, all right, regardless of fear or adversity or problems, whatever comes along your way, you're going to show up. And then not only when you show up, but show up and do the right thing, those things will just kind of carry you through. And then next thing you know, you're looking at something that you thought was a big deal, and it's like, you're going to have a bigger challenge at some other point ahead of you that you have to do that same thing again. And then that thing that you thought was a big deal is something small, and it's in your rearview mirror. So
you can look back and kind of laugh at these things,
exactly.
Right?
So, I mean, there's so many things where, being over leveraged financially, or like you said, hiring. I mean, there was a time where we thought we were doing the best thing in the world. We had so many jobs coming in and so much business, and we're hiring left and right. And then the next thing you know, if I really looked at myself in the mirror, I wasn't managing those employees correctly. As fast as the money was coming in, it was like putting water in my hands. Yeah. I couldn't hold it. So I'm giving a lot of people jobs, and, but I'm not seeing the return on any of that stuff, because these guys were just showing up and just loosey-goosey, kind of just, hey, we're out here and I got another job for today and my job's secure, but there wasn't any like direct management or oversight, and they were just collecting a check. You know, there's everything from that to like, oops, I made a big mistake on this.
I didn't estimate this correctly, or whatever. Yeah.
Or, you know, here recently, I'll throw a quick story without name dropping any employees. We had a guy show up and he put something in the back of his truck, a very expensive item, just flew out. It's like a fluke thing, and it was from the person I would least expect that from. But it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do in that situation, though, when you find out that information? You got to show up and just do the right thing. Hey, it's on us. It's our fault. My responsibility. We're going to take care of it, and it's going to get replaced. And that's what customers appreciate. That's what people want to hear is like, hey, these guys did the right thing. They know how to take care of people. They're not running from conflict. There's so many people, especially in this industry with contracting, you hear, hey, I got burned by this contractor. This guy ran off with my money, or this guy dipped out when it was time to.
Yeah, you hear that all over social media.
Yeah,
every time you have a referral, like an agent says, they always say the same thing. I need a good contractor. What are they trying to say? You know what I mean? What are they subliminally saying there?
For me, I want to like constantly, I think that's part of what draws me into this as well, is like I want to constantly get away from that mentality. I don't want that to be the norm, but it takes action to like fight that stigmatism, you know? So if people already have this stereotype that you're going to do X, Y, Z, or that the minute they point something out to you, you're going to kind of get up in arms and like fight them on the issue or whatever. I'm not here to do that. Let's just take care of the problem. Let's move forward. Let's be forward minded and say, at the end of this, I'm shaking your hand and you're inviting me over for a barbecue saying, hey, I want to show off my product and show you off to my friends and family. And that's the
thing. Your company being in the business for 10 years, having the referrals and the references that you have online. I mean, trust is one of those things that's hard to build. It takes time. You know, it's customer after customer after customer, and you can easily lose it. Like that situation you were talking about, had you been like, I don't know what's up with that, it's not my guy, like regardless, like that one negative review, like that thing cascades really quickly.
Absolutely. People will throw out, you could do 100 good things for somebody and one bad thing, and it'll overshadow the 100 good things that you did. So it's like the quicker that you are to actually just address the bad thing and face it head on, not run away from it and just, hey, this is what happened. Let me try to put a positive spin on this. The silver lining is that we're not going anywhere. I'm here. I'm not running away from this. We're going to take care of it. And if you approach every day with that same mentality, that's what keeps the phone ringing. You know, people want to come back and work with you and say, yeah, hey, these guys did the right thing. Their quality is there. They addressed this concern. I mean, I hear it all the time. I just got off the phone with a lady earlier today, and she's a referral partner, and just said, you know, excuse me, you know, you'll have to forgive my layman mentality around this, but just help me understand this process. Again, I'm answering those questions instead of running away and taking this as like a personal attack that this guy didn't say the right thing or he got the wrong information. I'm just giving her the information that she needs to know, and she's like, oh man, thank you so much. It's put me at so much ease now hearing it straight from your mouth. And most of the time people wouldn't do that. They wouldn't take the time, you know, to like really kind of
dig deep and like answer,
understand where she's coming from.
She's speaking in layman's terms. She doesn't speak construction.
I could be the pro here and put myself above her, you know, but that's not going to help anything.
Yeah, she doesn't care whether you were 1/16 of an inch off and now, you know, adds up and now you're like way off. Like she don't care what the technicality is. She's like, how are you going to fix my problem? That's all I want to know. That's a big difference. Well, I'm curious to know on the biz dev side of the way your operation is, and I'll share a story with you. Recently, we went to our corporate event. We grabbed our staff. We all went to Texas and we kind of sat for a couple days and restructured how our company is so that we have some sort of order on things. Like when a problem comes up, this is this person's role and responsibility. When this thing comes up, it's this person's role and responsibility. What was your experience like in developing your company that way? So there's a hierarchy of you know, a chain of command in your business. Have you gone that far? Does it exist, or is it something that's already in place?
Yeah. Just with anything, it takes time, dedication. If something's important enough to you, you'll figure out a way to, repeat a process, right? So it's like, I had a mentor that told me one time, you know, you're going to get to a point in your business where it's kind of like just sticking the ingredients in this machine. You're cranking the sausage wheel. Sausages keep coming out. It's not magic. You're putting the right things in there. Put enough seasoning, enough of this.
You're gonna get a good sausage every time.
Get a good sausage every time. So it's like, if you can figure that out with your business and figure out, hey, what's turning that wheel and how's money coming out, get all those things in order. If it's staffing, if it's solutions or protocols for how you handle each procedure. And it just takes time to figure out what are those ingredients, and let me write it down, and let me see how much I got to measure for each one of those ingredients for it to taste the same way. So, it takes time. That's another area where I can really kind of shout out Mike and say, man, this guy, he's been very good. He'll see something and go, okay, we're going to break this down and get into the granular part of this to understand it and really take enough time to say, here's the finite details of how this works. Let me write it down, put it on paper, put it into a spreadsheet, and boom, here's the expectation for how we have to do this. And then having other people around that'll say, hey, I'm going to hold you accountable now to that. If this is what we're expecting, to really say, no, hey, this isn't, you put something weird in this sausage, it doesn't taste the same,
Yeah.
And that's a weird analogy using
No, but it's true.
And, sausage on a crank.
It's developing a system that pulls out the same result every single time, right? Like if
Yeah.
you go to McDonald's here or you go to McDonald's in North Carolina, that burger's going to taste exactly the same because you expect when you walk into the McDonald's to have that kind of that flavor, the size of the burger, the way the fries are, everything has to be exactly the same.
And backing up, I said earlier I don't like putting my thumb on people and kind of micromanaging, but at the same time there's a fine balance of knowing, like, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have worked at maybe a different job. Maybe one boss was more strict than the other. You still have to guide people and give people kind of the boundaries. Hey, stay in this lane.
Mm-hmm.
Else, I could say open that water bottle. There's going to be a couple of different ways in which you do it. And if it's not my expectation that you twist off the cap, maybe you just squeeze it hard enough and the
pops
cap
open.
Pops open. It's like, if I want something done a specific way, I've got to be adult enough to also say, hey, I want you to open this water bottle, but here's how I want you to open it. That way, you translate that down. It could be something as simple as somebody answering your telephones for you. Don't be afraid to write out a script and say, hey, this is how I want you to say it. Here's how I want you to introduce yourself and the company or whatever it is. That way you're not constantly dealing with a source of frustration for how the person did what you asked them to do.
Yeah.
You're still answering the phone.
Absolutely.
But put your flavor on it and say, hey, this is how I want you to do it. If you expect that, or if it's something that you're not as concerned with, sure, give people creative freedom, but it's got to align. So, ultimately for me, that's how I've grown the company and helped see things develop over time. Not being afraid to break down somebody's specific profile, even if they're overwhelmed by what they see, because a lot of times that'll happen. You start
especially when they first get started. Yeah,
and all of a sudden they thought they were coming in for an 8 to 5 job, and Monday through Friday, oh yeah, I do this, I do that, and they kind of describe it. But then when you see it on paper, it's like, oh wow, I accomplish 150 tasks throughout my week. That's a lot,
Well, it's also a metric, right? Now you can see how effective this person is compared to the next person you bring on. Is the next person at the same caliber? Are they at a higher caliber? Is the first person off? Like, I had somebody tell me one time, like, if you want to know whether your grass is being cut the right way or in the right amount of time or being priced, have 2 people do it. Right? Because then now if you only have the one person and you know that's what they charge you and it takes them 4 hours or whatever, like, you have nothing to compare it by. As soon as you bring on the other guy and the other guy's like, I'll do it in half the time and I'll charge you half as much, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, there's a comparison metric, but you have to have that metric in place so you can say, this is a good employee, this employee needs a little help. Maybe it's not that they're not a bad employee. Maybe my system's not in the right spot, right? Maybe I didn't, like you said, I didn't define that job role correctly. And so of course they're lost. Right. They get lost in what step, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Now I got a question for both of you, but I'm going to start with you. where do you see, like, you've seen where he's come in 10 years. Where do you think he's going to be in the next 5? Just from an outside perspective, since you knew the company, now you have a nice point of view. And I want to know where you envision yourself at 5 years.
Sure.
Another 5 years down the road.
Yeah, I guess in my short tenure at Resicom, I feel like I've come in at a time of really good growth that has some pain points in terms of just like feeling out that growth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really exciting to me in terms of, again, knowing the amount of work that Eli and Mike and the Resicom team are willing to put to get to where they are today. Knowing that they're willing to do that kind of work, and knowing the capacity that we can grow all that much more in the next 5-10 years, I think it's going to be really exciting for Resicom to be at at a place where we're taking on more jobs, taking on fun and exciting jobs, working with industry partners and growing. So I'm excited about the next few years.
How about you, Eli? Do you have like a direct, vivid picture of where you want to be?
I think yes and no. I think because of some of the autonomy that I give to a lot of my team. I mean, one of the exercises that we've just recently did at the beginning of the year is met with all of our leadership team and had them put together 2020 vision. Daniel actually helped kind of kick that off. And so he was like, hey, here's my 2020 vision. And it was like, I didn't put any parameters around it. What is your goal for this year, for yourself and for your department? And I did that with each one of my department heads so that they're telling me what they want to see. And then as a company, we're all going to get behind that. And so, I mean, granted, that's for 1 year that we're saying, hey, we're broadcasting this for 2020. But yeah, specifically for me.
But wasn't it amazing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we did the same exact thing, and it was funny because when we were doing our structure, I was like, okay, everybody who's here, I want you to write out how you see the company, and we're going to present it, and we'll ask questions to each other.
Yep.
But to hear every department's perspective on how they see it completely different.
Yeah.
It's the same company, but everybody has a completely different point of view of how things operate.
Right. So, you know, the key part for me is like, being the captain where I'm directing that rudder still. So it's like taking all that vision and then compiling it and saying, hey, this is where the company is going at large. Hey, you have to tweak a couple things here with what your expectation is and vice versa. This guy needs to do this. And how do we all band together, put our arms together and come together as one unit to move this thing forward? So it's really cool. And so all that said, my 5-year, goal and plan is to see some very aggressive and strategic growth. So as Daniel said, it's a cool time for us. We've gone through those ups and downs and the hurdles of like everybody says, oh yeah, make it past your first year, your second year. There's always some magic number, right?
Some arbitrary number.
Make it to year 5. And it's like, we've hit those benchmarks now. And so it's like, we're a decade into this thing. It's time for us to really kind of spread our wings and see, that we're doing something really aggressive with our growth, but strategic. Not just a wild man, going, hey, we're going to grow really aggressively and things are going to get out of control. We're doing it, and we're doing it very strategically, and doing it with everybody's vetting and backing. And so that's really cool. It's a cool part of doing what I do and watching some other executive level guys in the company, guys and gals. Shouldn't limit it to men alone, but what's it been
like for you? Like what does it feel like now being that captain of the ship? It's got to be different than like if you think back to the day you were wearing all the hats. You were the captain then too, but it's totally different type of leadership compared to where you are now. Now you're talking departments and staff. Now you're responsible for people, like putting food on their table and their family and their kids. Like what's that been like for you?
It's been really fun and just really, it's been a fun ride. I enjoy it. I mean, part of it, there are times where, still that like innate leader that I am wants to come out and maybe override a decision or like, but the other, it's just fun. It's like, it's fun to be able to grow something into a stage where you don't have necessarily funny money. I'm not ever, advertising like, oh yeah, I just get to blow money or this isn't a big deal. Just, shell out, money. But
not making it rain? Why not?
No,
What's
but
wrong with you?
It's also very fun and empowering to just put that responsibility back on others and say, hey, ultimately at the end of the day, I trust you. You're gonna I trust you to make this a successful venture. I trust you to be able to pull this off. I trust you to implement this system. By doing that, that's actually way more empowering than me being the leader saying, no, hey, we're turning left at this turn. Maybe it's not a left or a right in the road. Maybe it's a Y, and we just have to figure out which one of these is going to get us.
You get to pick the direction.
In that direction. So it's really cool and empowering to actually do that and exercise that on that level.
I'm thinking of Lieutenant Dan on the ship. We're going to find the shrimp over there. Go due west. I mean, that's what you get to do, right? You're at the top and you get to, whether or not you find the shrimp, that's going to be on you. But at least, everybody's on the same page moving in that direction.
Yep, exactly.
How do you see the entire staff? Are they like a close-knit family? Are they like everybody's still kind of, my department, my thing? Or, what's the camaraderie like at Resicom?
It's really good. It's really fun. I mean, we have some people that have been there for a long time and have been through those growth times with Resicom, started out young. I mean, there's people that we've gone to church together for a really long time and have those life experiences even beyond just work. And so that feeds into whenever we do come together for work, being able to work past conflict, be able to have good times. So yeah, it's a fun
Sounds like you guys are there together, weddings, funerals, births, all that stuff throughout the years.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, you mentioned funeral. My mom just died back in October, and I'm from Texas, and Eli came to Texas with me. So yeah, flew out there, be with my family.
So that was tough. Our condolences.
Thank you. Yeah, it was certainly a difficult time, but man, to have Eli be there, come out, that was a huge thing. So again, that's just I don't mean to.
No, that's exactly that. I mean, that's a perfect example of what this family is.
Exactly.
It's a company, but you guys are. It sounds like you guys are a family there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, you work around people more than you see your own real family.
Yes.
And your friends for that matter. So it's like you may as well have a good time and get real with people. Figure out what life is all about and do it together. There's still an element of keeping things personal. Personal life can still be personal life, but if you got to work together, you may as well establish that camaraderie and know that the guy that I'm working next to has got my back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes kind of across the board. There's the cool thing about it is, regardless of gender, background, race, religion, I truly try to find a way to connect with everybody on my team and do things that are personal and enjoyable to them. I mean, one guy, we just went shooting, together. There's other people I've been to the desert with, to the river with, to, as Daniel said, church with, to random family events, it's like last year, it was so funny. A bunch of our guys put together a soccer team, and they were just like, hey, we all
that's what we want to play. Yeah.
Together,
might as well play together.
May as well do it together. We're all around each other. They're like, hey, boss,
makes the best team.
Can we have the company sponsor part of our team? And sure, why not? So it's and the unity that I saw those guys bring to the table on that work project that they were all assigned to
made it that much better.
It was insane.
Yeah.
We went from a 12-man team down to 3 or 4 specific teams because they were installing that product so quickly.
Efficiency went up. Yeah. That's the power of it.
Yeah. Little things like that, it's just awesome to watch.
Makes a huge difference. All right, I asked you guys a ton of questions, so we're going to move into the Ask the Bros section. So while you guys think of a question to ask us, I'm going to remind our audience, we're still looking for 100. We're at 50, but we're looking for 100 blankets, sweaters, hoodies, whatever we can to help the homeless stay warm. So if you guys got them, hit James up, 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. He's also the insurance bro, so make sure you guys hit him up for all your insurance needs, home, auto, workers' comp, general liability, whatever it is that you need. We we got you. Maybe you want to add insurance into your business. We're here to help. We'll do all the heavy lifting for you. Kind of like these guys do all the heavy lifting, right? You just got to hit James up, 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. Show sponsor for today is dronequote.net. The sun might have gone down, but it's here every single day. So those sun rays can be dollar bills landing on your rooftop if you have the equipment ready to catch it. So dronequote.net/business bros is where you go to get the solar process started. All right, you guys ready?
We're ready.
Do it. Ask away. Personal or James or me? I know James doesn't do much talking, but you can ask him a question.
I have a question that was sparked earlier. You were talking about that you had done with your team, kind of developing. Sounds like maybe some systemization. The question that I had was, in the process of doing that, or even planning to do that planning process, was that based off of models? Like, are you modeling that process, the systemization, or is it based off of personal experiences, your own business intuition? What all goes into that whole process?
So when it comes to like the daily ins and outs of what happens operation wise, that's James. Like he's the systems guy. He's the one who comes in and he's developing, like, you know, our personalized training and commercial training, how we, you know, implement certain things. And then we have another staff member, Corey, who's on the admin side, helping with the, you know, accounting, researching, that sort of stuff. So we had people who were doing certain jobs. The problem is, like, we didn't have a direct chain of command. Like, we didn't have a direct designated roles and responsibilities for each individual department. So things kind of overlapped and bent, and you know, they kind of meshed together. So, you know, it could have been this person's problem, or it could have been this person's problem, and things don't get actually solved because it's kind of in that gray area in the middle. Yeah. So when we got together, it was more of like, what's the one thing that if we came together and we got this one thing accomplished, would it fix a lot of what we wanted to do? And for us, it was like, well, let's identify roles and responsibilities for our departments. And honestly, it comes from like meeting people like you guys and being able to talk to you guys and what worked in your business, what didn't work in your business. I mean, we've had over 200 people come on the show sharing their stories, horror stories, great success stories, and we get to learn from a lot of that, plus our experiences in other businesses, right? But for us, we got to the point where our business is big enough where if we didn't fix these problems, we were going to do exactly what we're doing, just treading water and never actually going anywhere, because we're stuck at that point where we've hit another section of plateau. So how do we organize what we got so that we can direct the ship wherever we want to go? If we want to direct it this way, cool, well, let's go this way. And now everybody knows their role to get to that same position. That's why I was, you know, when you were talking about that for us, it's been huge. I mean, it's only been, you know, a few weeks since we started implementing, but those few weeks have been amazing, right? I mean, you're in the office every single day.
No, there's definitely a buzz. There's a whole new energy. There's direction and vision and all of these things that were just vital. I mean, we just didn't have that. There was a lot of changes in 2019 that felt like, you know, kind of got the wind blown out of the sail, if you will. Yeah. And, you know, coming into 2020 and getting that vision that we did, getting that clarity, we came back just energized. And yeah, absolutely. It's just been a couple of weeks, but we can feel it. We can feel the difference.
That's good. It's awesome.
Now
I got to
see the results.
I got another question.
Go for it.
Business bros, you know, I'm recently finding out about you guys, your story, background, etc., how long you've been around. Congrats on how many episodes and how long you guys have been doing this. So, yeah, thank you guys. And thanks for having us on the show.
Of course.
My question is, where do you guys, I'm not even looking for a 5-year plan, but where do you guys see yourselves taking the show and making sure that, like even today's episode, that things stay relevant and that you're relevant with the industry? Because, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of in a niche market for, you know, who's out there, but how do you want to perpetuate that into the future? Do you see yourselves around and doing this, you know?
Yeah. So, James, what's the why statement?
To empower others to create wealth for today and generational wealth for tomorrow.
So that's like awesome. a simple little thing that we've kind of adopted on the show. Originally, our show motto was to be of service to others, right? That's kind of how we grew up. If you can help other people achieve what they want to achieve, you're going to achieve everything you want to achieve. And so for us, I mean, when we started, we said we're going to do this for 3 years, right? Well, I told them we're going to do this for 3 years, and now a year and a half into it, a little over, a little more than that, like every relationship that we've come across, everybody we've met, everybody we've talked to, the branding that we've been able to build, I don't really see us stopping, right?
That's
So,
awesome.
and one of the things I've started thinking about more and more, and every time I talk to, people like yourself, and I always ask that question when you have a staff, like, how did you let go of things? And I think, reflecting back on that, it's me trying to ask myself, like, we have this podcast and now we can take it to the next level. I can either try to figure it out myself, or I can reach out to somebody who's in a similar industry and be like, what should we do with this? You know what I mean? How should we take this to the next level?
Yeah.
And I think that's me trying to let go. You know what I mean? By me asking you guys, I think that's me trying to convince myself, like, what's next? What's next is I need to hire somebody who's in this industry to come on board and help take us to the next level.
Yep.
Because I mean, we can figure it out, but even when we figure it out, it's like, oh, we should do video. Oh, we should like cut up our stuff. Like every epiphany is because of trial and error. Why do it that route when there's other people who are in this industry who can help, like, catapult it? Bring on a partner and be like, help us build this to where we want it to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always kind of said that with my own business. There's people that like they're so afraid to relinquish, power or authority or, whatever. And it's like, I'd rather be that guy where I have 10% of 100 people's efforts versus 100% of my own effort any day of the week. Because I just know that I can accomplish more with those individuals and those people that are bringing something else that's creative to the table and saying, hey, instead of being afraid of like somebody that may be better than you or may have done this or gone there ahead of you or, whatever, it's like,
It's a
bring them
perspective.
in, pull them into your circle and help grow from, those opportunities, grow with each other. And,
Exactly.
And so
It's
awesome.
I was listening to you guys talk, and I'm scolding myself because you guys were saying how, you hand off a part of it and then you want to take it back. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, crap, I was doing that in the agency today. Trying to give this role away to somebody else. And then, like, I catch myself still scheduling appointments, and I'm like, oh, crap. And
it's a learning curve. You're not going to get it perfect every time, right? So
Right.
Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an
Trial and error.
Excellent questions.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Stephen Moore says, what's up, Eli, by the way?
Nice.
Stephen Moore.
What up?
What up, Steven? James, which camera are we going to look at? Straight,
Well,
Eli's?
they can see they can see themselves.
Okay.
Steven, what's up?
So, Eli, take a look at the camera. Tell people how to get a hold of you if they want to work with you.
Call our company, 858-227-9700. You can look us up on the web, www.resicom.com. Pretty simple, RESICOM. Seen right here on the hat, shirt. I would pass out my personal cell, but that's been a dangerous thing over the years.
Yeah, that's tough.
So you can call this guy, though, anytime. He'll give his personal cell phone number out because he's our biz dev guy. That's the easiest way. Look us up, give us a call, reach out. You can email Eli@resicom.com, info@resicom.com, Lacey@resicom.com, Mike@resicom.com, Daniel. I mean, we have a lot of people on our staff that can help out. So just reach out. Don't be afraid. Questions, comments, concerns. I get inquiries all the time. People asking me, hey, what do I do in this scenario? Or how could you help me here? Advice is free. That's one of the best things about my business. I like giving out free info. So
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you build and make them know, like, and trust you, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
For being
Awesome.
patient with the delay,
Yeah.
on the phone technical support. So I appreciate you guys. Time is of the essence, but you guys were here. So thank you guys very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys today. Have a great, what are we, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Take Action Tuesday.
Take Action Tuesday.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And we're out.
Thanks, Facebook. We love you. Appreciate you.